And welcome to my channel. No. What is it really like living in Tobago? All right. My name is Devon Adana. I am from Tobago. I'm from the island of Tobago. And I'm going to give you an idea of what it is really like to live here. Tobago is in the Caribbean, and so many of my friends, cousins, a lot of people are always asking me, what is it really like to live in Tobago? Now, I have lived in the US. I've done a little bit of traveling, probably not a lot, not extensive, not as much as I would like to, but I have friends all over, and they're always like, what is it like? What is Tobago really like? So here are the 5 things that for me really capture what living in Tobago is like. Of course, visiting Tobago is going to be vastly different from living here, because we have a saying, come see me and come live with me is two different things, right? So here we go. The first thing you should know about living in Tobago is that it's definitely not as backward as you may think. So, of course, we have indoor plumbing, we have running water, we have very stable internet. The Prime Minister of the country, Trinidad and Tobago, recently announced that he's probably moving us to nationwide free Wi-Fi to help offset costs to parents with regard to online schooling. So we have little things, okay? So we're not backward as some people have in their minds, because of course there's always a question. It's like, do you all even, do you all speak English there? Do you all have toilets that are in the home and stuff like that? No doubt at one point in time we did not have these things, right? But we are definitely on board with what's happening in the 21st century. We are here in 2020. We have all of the Instagram, all of the social media, all of the computer, all of them are here. The second thing about living in Tobago is that you're often underestimated. So here's what I mean by that. So coming from an island that has, about 65,000 people, a lot of times people discount you, discount your talent, or kind of just they don't acknowledge that you are even there. And this is the truth, not only internationally, but definitely even within the arrangement of between Trinidadians and Tobagonians. So a lot of times, so one of the ways that you could tell if a person is from Trinidad, so if you're in a country outside of Trinidad and Tobago, and you ask the person where they're from, and they say, I'm from Trinidad, they are really from Trinidad, right? If you ask the person, if you ask a Tobago person where they're from, they'll tell you they're from Trinidad and Tobago. Because a Tobagonian will never say, I'm from Trinidad, because that is not true, right? So, because a lot of times we feel like Trinidadians don't acknowledge us even being there, we kind of feel like some appendage hanging on, kind of, it gives us a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. And that's just from my perspective. I know I definitely had a chip on my shoulder, especially when I was going to college. When I was going to university in Connecticut, I know I had a chip on my shoulder about being from Tobago, and I always had to let people know and put people in their place and check them, because I wanted to make sure they knew that I was from Tobago, okay? And for whatever it's worth, and I could acknowledge that now, I know that it was because of my chip on my shoulder. But that does not mean that the kind of lack of acknowledgement does not exist, right? And this is just my personal experience. Tobagonians, don't come for me. Trinis, don't come for me. Okay, I ain't trying to put nobody on the spotlight or anything like that. This is just my experience. Right. The third thing about what it's like to live in Tobago is that there's probably between 1 to 3 degrees of separation between you and anybody else on the island. So one of the kind of, I don't know if you all remember, like in I think it was in the 90s or early 2000s, there was this thing, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So it was like every star in Hollywood had done something, like everybody could trace themselves back to Kevin Bacon. So Kevin Bacon is a Hollywood actor, one of my favorites. I really like his acting style. And they would have these commercials where people would just show that, like, basically, Kevin Bacon is 6 degrees of separation away from them, either because they acted in a movie or a commercial or a TV show with somebody who was with somebody who, basically 6 degrees away, right? But I would say in Tobago, it's 1 to 3 degrees. I used to say it was 1 degree in, as a kid growing up in the 80s and the 90s, because there were like 45 to 50,000 people on the island, but now we're at 65. So, when more people means is less, a little less intimate, but I would say there's 1 to 3 degrees of separation. Like, you could call a name of somebody, and there's at least, you will find 2 to 3 people in common, like that. And I actually really love that about living in Tobago. Like, I love small, intimate, types of living arrangements. That sounds really weird and really odd, but roll with me here. So when I used to work in the US, I used to work in New York and New Jersey, and I absolutely hated it. I relished the opportunities to go to North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. I'd work there for months on end, and I would be in heaven. The moment my job was like, okay, it's time for you to come back to New York, I would be like so sad, so down, because I knew that it was just the end of my small town vibes, and I just enjoy a good small town vibes, okay? And so for me, I love the 1 to 3 degrees of separation. I love that everybody kind of knows everybody. However, I must say, as we evolve as a society, more and more I could see us not wanting to, or not seeing that 1 to 3 degree separation as a good thing. Everybody wants to keep to themselves. They don't want people in their business. Macoing is a big word here. And one of the things, I think I'd heard it on the radio, where people are saying the village Mako, there is no longer a village Mako. And the village Mako was so important in keeping us safe, because the village Mako would be like, oh, who is this new person who come into the village? Excuse? Who are you? And they're asking all the questions to find out, right? So the village Mako was like the police, informant, basically, because they would know everybody in the village and who would be new to the village. Now it's so hard for you to know if somebody new to the village or if they've been living there the entire time. It's a little bit different. And for me, I feel like that's a major piece of Tobago that we would be losing if we continue down that road. Not that I'm interested in the position of being the village Mako, not at all, but I'm just saying, that intimacy and that knowledge of what's kind of going on with each other. It sounds like people in your business, but it also sounds like safety in numbers. So, just saying. So the fourth thing that is really true to living in Tobago is that you could try your hand at anything and everything. You could kind of go out there and do things that you always wanted to do. So you could really run through your bucket list, right? But here's the thing. It does come with a level of judgment. And listen me out on this. So let's say you never danced a day in your life and woke up one morning and decided, you know what? I want to learn dancing. You're going to go out, you're going to probably find a dance class and say, okay, I'm going to learn this dancing. Nice. So you may go to the class, but you're going to realize that you might be getting stared on and you're getting a lot of who she thinks she is, what she feels she playing kind of thing, right? And that's just because, we could be territorial. It's a small space. So you tend to be a little territorial, and we want to be like, this is my space, back up. You know what I mean? So if somebody is a more seasoned dancer or has been doing it a while, you might get a little bit of a judgment, of a little bit of a hate coming in. But don't pay that no mind. You go, try your hand at it, live your best life, be great, at your dancing. And you could really try it. You could try it and give it a good try. But just know that you may have to overcome a little judgment by those who have been doing it for a while. What she thinks she is, or what he think who he feel he playing, that is a big thing here. But if you have the confidence in yourself and it's something that you always wanted to try or always wanted to do, you are welcome to do it. The fifth thing about what it's really like to live in Tobago is nature. Oh my God. For me, this is just the most important thing. I absolutely love being in nature, and specifically the ocean. I could spend, like, I could probably live on I could live on the sand. I could live on the sand. When I say live on the sand, I mean build a house on the sand, go bathe in the sea every day, and then come back to my little sand hut and be living my best life. I really enjoy a good ocean. And Tobago, of course, is just like Oceanville, right? Oh gosh, love it. And for me, the closest that I ever feel to God is when I'm in nature. Like, even as a teenager, as a child, I would lie on my back on my favorite beach, which is Grange Bay, right? Lie on my back and just like float in the water and look up at the sky and feel so connected to whatever is the supreme being. And for me, it's almost cathartic. It's almost like a release. And so I just absolutely love, and in being in Tobago, you're kind of always surrounded by some element of nature. No beach is more than 10 minutes away for anybody. No, I don't care where they live. No beach is more than 10 minutes away. And you're always attracted by the beauty of it, whether it's lush green rolling valleys, whether it's this ocean. You're just always in nature, and you feel the difference when you come here versus, let's say, if you were in Trinidad. You feel the difference in the smell of the air, the expanse of space. You don't feel like somebody like always walking next to you or on top of you. It's just a fantastic nature environment to raise children, to live. It's a really healthily nature oriented, and for me that has always been something that has just been fantastic and that I absolutely love. So I haven't asked you yet, but I'm gonna ask you now. I would love it if you like this video, subscribe, and guess what, turn on your notification bell now. And one more thing, I would love it if you type in the comments, I subscribe, so I could welcome you properly to my channel. You know why? Because I have brought up C. And being from Tobago, brought up C is a very important thing. So if you want me to do 5 more things that tell you what it's really like to live in Tobago, go ahead and like this, subscribe, and turn your notification on. Thank you so much. My name is Devon Adana, and hey, if you want to see how I celebrated my birthday last week, check out this video.